Welcome to Parenting Successful Teens, the podcast that cuts through the overwhelm and stress of this phase and offers parents simple, practical, cognitive, science-based strategies for keeping their teens on track. Join Master Coach and real-life mom, Allie Irwin, to talk about real teens, real problems, and the skills it takes to raise successful adults.
Hello, everybody. We are in the final week of having my daughter home from school. So we've been doing all kinds of fun things this week, including Tuesday is a cheap ticket night at our movie theater. So we decided to go to the movies. And I was watching all the trailers, trying to figure out what we should see. And I noticed that Art of Racing in the Rain is at the theaters. I'm laughing because I burst into tears during the trailer. So we did not pick that movie, but it was such a good book that it made me think of what I wanted to talk to you about this week. So the basic premise of the movie is this family story is told through the metaphor of racing. The dad in the family is a race car driver. So he keeps comparing all of the challenges of family life to what it's like when you're racing. And we're a super car family. My husband and I both worked for GM when we met. A lot of those images really resonated with us. And I'm hoping they'll resonate with you too. The most often, like sort of the big idea of the book is that where our eyes go, where our attention, our focus goes, that's what we get more of in our life. And it kind of all centers around this quote. This is what Garth Stein, the author, wrote. In racing, they say that your car goes where your eyes go. The driver who cannot tear his eyes away from the wall as he spins out of control will meet that wall. And the driver who looks down at the track as he feels his tires break free will regain control of his vehicle. Okay, when things go wrong, if all we can think about is like, oh no, like wall, we're going to crash, that we're almost magnetized toward the very thing that we don't want. When we're able to keep our eyes focused on the road, on the track ahead, that's when we're able to regain control of the situation. And this is really easy advice to apply when the stakes are low. Taught my kids, I read this book like 10 years ago. It was a super popular book club book. So I taught my kids when they were little to use this idea in order to find things. So, when your kids are little and your house is full of giant plastic toys, we were forever losing library books and one shoe would go missing. So when the kids were little, I would teach them to use this focused attention to look for things. So they would walk around the house and I would say, if you're looking for your library book, say book, 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 so that you can keep reminding yourself what you're trying to find. And it kind of steers away from, I don't know if you ever sent your kids to look for anything. You sent them upstairs to get their gym shoes and then 15 minutes passed and you went to find out what was going on and they were sitting on their bed watching a YouTube video. Was kind of designed to get around that, to help them, teach them how to focus their attention on what they're looking for. And this is pretty easy to do when the stakes feel low, but it can be harder to do when the stakes feel higher. And Tony Robbins tells this really famous story about how he was on a closed track one day. He was taking a racing class, and it was one of those closed track classes where the driving instructor is sitting right next to him. And the instructor was saying okay, now we're going to go into a skid. I'm going to teach you how to steer out of a skid. And what I want you to do is to stay focused on the road. You're going to want to stare at the wall, but if you do that, you're going to crash. You have to stay focused on the road. And Tony Robbins was like, dude, I got this. I literally teach that material. That's what paid for me to take this class. I got it. And so the instructor puts him in a skid and he said, just like a deer in headlights, he just stared right at the wall, even though he knew he should be staring at the road. And so what the instructor did is he grabbed his head and physically turned his head back towards facing the road. And really, as parents, this is who we want to be. We want to be the driving instructor that helps our kids focus on the road. But what happens for most parents is when our child has a problem, we can't be that driving instructor because we ourselves are focused on the wall. A skid might be your child has sketchy friends, or they're struggling in a class in school. And the more that you focus on the sketchy friend, the more you make that sketchy friend more attractive to your child. Like what happens, we think we've solved the problem because we've explained to our kid like how terrible their new boyfriend is. And then we stop seeing the boyfriend around the house. But what we've taught our kids is to not bring the boyfriend around, right? Like we haven't solved the problem. We've made the boyfriend more attractive and now they're just hanging out someplace else. Or if we're super worried about our child passing geometry and we're checking Power School all the time and we're getting text updates and we're reminding our child, did you turn this in? Did you talk to your teacher? How did the quiz go? And we're on and on. What we're actually doing is we're passing on our anxiety about geometry to our child. And so now they have all of their anxiety about not doing well in the class. And then all we've done is layered our anxiety on top of that. And our attentions are good, but really all of our focused attention is on the wall. It's on the problem. So the question really becomes, if the instinct is to stare at the wall, how do we get our eyes back on the road? And the good news is it's really just two simple steps. The first step is to know what the road is. So many people, they have a really clear idea of what they don't want, but they're not as clear on what it is that they want. They have a super clear idea of what they don't want and kind of a vague idea of what they do want. And so it becomes hard to really focus on it because we're not clear on what we're really focusing on. The easiest way to get clearer on that is to ask yourself, how would I feel if this situation were already resolved? So if our child was already successful in geometry, how would I feel? I would feel confident that they can be successful in school. Or I would feel proud that they struggled in a class and they put in the work and then they got better. Okay? So you identify what that feeling is that you think you'll have when the situation is resolved. And then you begin focusing on how you can feel that feeling now. You start to look for ways to feel now how you think you'll feel when the situation is resolved. So maybe I could feel confident because my child has overcome challenging classes in the past. Or maybe I could feel confident because my kids go to a really good school system and I know that they have good teachers. Maybe I could feel confident because the National Honor Society offers tutoring sessions. Like, I don't know what those are for you, but I know that there are already things existing in your current situation that you can use to give you the feeling that you think you'll have when it's resolved. Here's the fun part. The more that you focus on having the feeling now that you think you'll have then, the more potential solutions that will reveal themselves. Because as long as we're just focused on the problem and how terrible it is and how stressful it is and what's going to happen if they don't do well in geometry, it actually shuts down the part of us that could see potential solutions. So step one is really identifying what it is that you want. And then step two is to just keep turning your attention to that thing again and again and again. And as the driving instructor in the car, you're not just turning your attention, but you're turning your teen's attention. You're helping them see over and over again that you're proud of them and that you're confident that they can be successful. Okay, you're helping them develop their own pride and confidence in themselves. And here's the good news, is nowhere in there am I saying to stop driving. Tony Robbins didn't let go of the wheel. He kept driving. He didn't just let go of the wheel and have the instructor take over. He kept driving. And in doing and approaching problems this way, you keep your child at the wheel. You are teaching them how to resolve their own problems by showing them how to use their focused attention on solutions. And this is such a more effective way to operate as a parent, and it feels so much better. Okay, instead of spending your time stressed out about like the terrible geometry grade, you spend your time in the problem solving mode of how do we be successful in this situation? What does success even look like for us here? That makes it so much more likely that your kids will bring you their problems because you are an instructor in helping them solve their own problems. Okay, they don't bring you your problem and then you freak out and make it worse. They bring you their problem and then you start to teach them how to decide what success is and how to be successful and how to focus on the parts of the situation that are already going well and how to get more of that and build on that. And that just feels so much better. And it is a good and worthy goal to have a good time helping your child through all of these challenges in high school. That is why I love the teen years so much, is it's such an immense time of growth for kids. As you're transferring all of the responsibility that you had for their lives when they were younger, you're starting to transfer that over to themselves so that as they leave your home, they can be more successful and more independent. And so almost the more skids you get in as a family, the more opportunities you have to teach them how to get out of a skid. Like, that is amazing news, right? I'm not saying that you're ever going to look forward to having problems, but when the problems happen, which of course they're going to, because that's just how it is to be human, you can start to see them as opportunities to teach your child. And this is another place that Art of Racing in the Rain really gets it right. Sort of at the end of the book, he says, no one knows what curves life will throw at you. But if a driver has the courage to create their own conditions, then rain is simply rain. When we as families have the courage to create our own conditions, to choose what we're going to focus on purpose, then problems are just that. They're just problems to be solved. They're no big deal. Nothing's gone wrong. This is just something that we need to take care of. This is just part of the race. And if this is something you would like some support in, if you want a driver helping you or a driving instructor helping you keep your eyes on the road as you learn this, then what I want you to do is I want you to text the phrase focus on the road to the number 44222. So you'll just put that phrase, that's the whole text, focus on the road to the number 44222. And what you'll get back is a scheduling link to my calendar. And we'll hop on a call and you'll tell me a little bit about your situation. And I will help you figure out, I will be the driving instructor in your car and help you see what it is that you want out of this situation and start to help you get focused on the road so that you can help your family. All right, take advantage of this and I will talk to you next week.
Thanks for listening to Parenting Successful Teens. If you enjoyed today's show, then I've got a treat for you. I have a free guide that teaches you how to get your teenagers to tell you about their day. No more one-word answers. And grabbing this guide is super easy. Just text the phrase, Get Teens Talking, as all one word, no spaces, to the number 44222. So that's the phrase, Get Teens Talking, without any spaces, to the number 44222. And then you'll be prompted to give the email address that you want the guide sent to, and then it shows up in your email box just like magic. You know what else is magic? Having teenagers that talk to you. Now, I can't promise that you're going to like everything they have to say, but I can promise better conversations. Grab the guide, and I'll talk to you next week.